Yo, I want to chill right now.
You're disrespecting me in a public forum right now. You realize that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want that to be the goal of the podcast, for somebody to let go of their worries in the world and listen to us.
This is my new look, Daddy David. Daddy David.
Born to procreate. Born to procreate. Yeah, that better make it in the intro.
Nah, probably not.
Hey, beautiful people! Welcome to episode 91 of the Unboxing Light podcast. We are here to deliver to you an album review of the Weeknd's Dawn FM, which was released like 2 weeks ago now, on January 7th, 2022. So, strap in, make some sacrifices. Don't be out of time. and listen to our little review we got my boy Alex. What's up, G?
What's up, fam? I couldn't think of anything creative, so I'm just Alex today.
That's okay. You're just Alex in my heart, and that's enough for me.
All right. I appreciate that.
I got my boy Cake My Meth.
Yeah, Cake My Meth is actually my given name, but I go by David, so just you can call me that.
Otherwise known as Take My Breath. No, I love it. I have Existential Abel as well.
That's me. That's Cameron. What's up, you big old cornball? Fucking using two track name puns in the first two sentences of the podcast. I absolutely love it. That's what you turned into here for. So I'm excited for it. We're all excited for it. I'm pretty sure. Take us in.
Sir.
What are we doing?
And we also got my messy bed that I didn't fucking make. So fuck it.
Dang.
Hell yeah!
Shout out to Messy Beds.
Yeah. And I'm Out of Treasure, otherwise known as Out of Time, track 7. So yeah, we're here to deliver you guys a stellar album review. Hopefully you guys are a fan of Abel Tesfaye. If not, why are you here?
To figure out if they should be, you know?
Because
to
they
figure out if
love
they should
me.
be.
I mean, that's why here's my first Weeknd album. So
Is it?
yeah,
Okay.
Dang, you've only listened to albums on the weekday?
Yeah, this is
brother.
also the oh yeah, here we go. You're a cornball too.
Yeah,
Hey, bro, at least I'm main character.
True.
I'm on brand.
I got you, dude. I got you.
Yeah.
That's facts. Yeah, dude. This is also the first time I've gone out of my way to listen to The Weeknd. Normally, it's just been on the radio all summer. Depending on the year, 2015, 2017, whatever era he was in. So yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time coming to actually sit down with one of his projects, and this was an interesting one to have be the first.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a really great starting point too. Like if you obviously haven't listened to the rest of his discography, but this is a very accessible album. So I'm glad that this is your first entry into it.
Yeah, like I said, on purpose. I've heard the hits as well as the rest of America and the world plenty of times. I drink. Wow, I've been drinking a little bit. I told the boys that I would drink for you missed a boy Abel because he likes to dabble in his drugs and alcohol. But heavily thematic on the album.
Yeah, just a little bit. But I think Blinding Lights is almost at 3 billion streams on Spotify alone. So
yeah.
Yeah, we've all heard him one time or another. He's featured on a lot of artists I like, songs.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I can. If we want to do traditions, and then I can carry us into the rest of the episode with some of his statistics of his storied career over the last, I believe, 7 or 8 years. I don't know. I think his debut was in 2014, which didn't perform amazingly. No.
His debut was in 2013.
2013.
Kissland, his major label debut. He had 3 mixtapes before that.
So his major label debut, which didn't perform amazingly, did solidly, but then his, I believe, true breakout was with "Earned It" on the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack.
Yeah, that's like track 7 or 8 on "Beauty Behind the Madness." I'm ready for it, Cameron. I'm ready.
So let's do some traditions, and then I will give you the rest of the statistics on some of his success. So who do you want to start with, Trev?
I want to start with me.
All right,
there you go.
I think my words of the day. I have 3 for y'all, and they're not.
Okay.
I haven't read this week. I started my job, so I've been kind of busy, but I hope to deliver some words that are very thematically significant to this album. So we got 3 for you, like I said. First one, Merriam-Webster. We're not going to read out of the book like we have been, but the first one is purgatory, and it is a state after death, according to Roman Catholic belief, in which the souls of people who die are made pure through suffering before going to heaven. The second definition would also be a place of or state of suffering. So that is Purgatory.
Is that the end of that word?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do sentences for these ones.
Cool. I will say, as raised Roman Catholic beliefs, I'm now, we won't talk about that right now, but yeah, I was raised in the Catholic Church, and the purgatory was always more of a state of like you can define it as suffering, like it's more in the Old Testament, like fire and brimstone type God. It might be more like that. I was always taught that it was more of like a state of like kind of like a waiting room. Like if you were a sinner, you would have to wait there for a certain amount of time to be like repentant of your sins before you would be allowed then into the pearly gates, the kingdom of heaven.
Almost like a place of like reflection of your past mistakes.
Yeah, so we'll get deeper into it when we're actually talking about it, but this album, the way he describes the tunnel with the light and everything is like very on point with the metaphor. I like it. It's a good depiction.
There's a lot to unpack with this particular album.
For sure. Struck a few chords, so
yeah. First word, already striking some discourse. We like to see it.
Sure.
Second word is heaven. It is Heaven.
Nice.
It is the expanse of space that seems to be over the earth like a dome. Often capitalized, the dwelling place of the deity and the blessed dead. Or a spiritual state of everlasting communion with God.
Nice.
Yes.
Or this is the definition that I really associate with it: a place or condition of utmost happiness, something that is very pleasant or enjoyable.
Yeah.
Can I guess the third word?
You will not get it, but try it.
Hell.
No.
Yeah. No, heaven is cool in terms of like it can be
cool.
the same
Cool.
No, okay, all right. Heaven as a concept is cool because across cultures it can be the same like sort of concept but have very, very different things going on. Yeah, heaven is cool. It can consist of It can consist of very, very different things.
T-shirts with that shit. Like, don't do drugs, kids. Heaven is cool.
That's like you see the like gay people go to hell like picketers like outside of some place, and one of them just says heaven is cool.
Jesus Christ.
Goodness.
Well, they have you seen the merch of like Virginity Rocks?
Yes.
Like where they
heaven
have, like,
is
the
cool is
t-shirts?
another one that you're thinking of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I could
There
fit
you
in.
go.
Yeah.
We could market some t-shirts.
Yeah, I was trying to make a point about how it's very different across cultures and that the same word can mean very different things.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about, selling t-shirts for $25.
Yeah, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like he works with money on a day-to-day basis.
Just a little bit, yeah.
It's almost like that.
Your third word of the day before I give the spotlight away. Oh my God, is
Chill.
Is regret. Regret. It is to mourn the loss or death of, to miss very much, or to be very sorry for.
Gotta learn to live with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta learn to live with regrets. On a road to success. I love you, David. So those are your 3 words of the day.
All right.
Yeah.
And with that, I will toss it over to my boy Alex for some jokes of the day. Or joke.
Snap. True.
Snap.
This joke, courtesy of my boy Arcady 2009.
Yeah.
Over on Reddit, of course. But, I was eating a hot dog, as I do.
As you do. I almost feel like you started a joke with this before.
No, a lot of stories start with me just,
Eating a hot dog.
Bully McGuire
All the
slowing
best
down on a
stories.
hot dog.
Yeah.
typical day, but you get your mustard, you get your ketchups.
Okay.
You put the mustard on, and then you put the ketchup on. But I got some ketchup in my eyes, and now I got hindsight.
Oh my god. Dang, brother.
They
That
say
was fire.
it's 2020.
That was
Hindsight is 2020.
that was hilarious. No, I like that one a lot.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I like that one.
All right, baby. My boy Dave is gonna get you with the track of the episode. I didn't say track of the week.
Thank you. Well, you could now. Well,
Even though we are
I
weekly
just said
instead
it.
of
yeah.
dual weekly now.
I just said it.
There you go.
Haha.
My track of the episode will be "Silk in the Strings" by Spiritbox.
Goodness.
Come through.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did.
it came
The entire thing.
Shout out
I
to
mean-
Trevor's new mic. Yeah, man. This track
Fuck
is
yeah.
Shout out to
What is that,
Trevor's old
track
mic.
7? I'm gonna look it up while you talk
I
about
don't
it.
freaking count them when I'm listening like a nerd, but you know,
6. God damn it. Whatever.
throwback to last episode when we did our top 10 albums of the year 2021.
Throwback.
This album was on Trevor's list, so I checked it out because I was curious about it. He sent it to me like early in the year, and I meant to check it out, and I never did. So I finally did. I enjoyed it. It's only been one listen because I've been listening to The Weeknd now, but I'm
True.
gonna give it some more listens. This track was very hard.
This one is very heavy. Like,
Yeah.
super heavy.
What genre are we working
Have you
with?
looked at it's metalcore.
Gotcha.
Have you? And it's the female fronted band that I was talking about last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Have you listened to the lyrics of that particular
I
song?
didn't look them up. I could pick up like a few of them, but that's it.
They're quite depressing, but it's,
Okay.
yeah, no, that song is great. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. I'm checking it out. Good rec.
Sweet. What is it again for the people?
Silk in the Strings by Spiritbox.
Off
It's
of
hard.
Eternal
It's
Blue.
good.
And
Off
your
of Eternal
phone's
Blue.
everywhere.
Yeah. There you
Dope.
go. Some
I'm
metal
happy
in
with
your ears. Yes, sir.
We like it. All right. Cam, you want to hit us with your fun fact, baby?
I would love to. This one is one that people might be more aware of than some of the random stuff I dig up every once in a while because it has to do with The Weeknd, and he is a prominent public figure right now, and his Super Bowl halftime show was quite of note.
Oh, yeah.
It was, at the end of the pandemic, the NFL season was like a whole thing, so it was like, are we doing the halftime show? Like, what's going to happen there? And so...
You said at the end of the pandemic?
Or, well, at the... not the end, mid-pandemic. Yeah, anyway. Trevor's checking his watch. You frick.
Checking my fossil.
Oh, my God.
Checking your non-existent watch for when the end of the pandemic is. The curve is spiking again. Don't worry, everyone. I got my booster shot today, though. Trev has his booster shot. So does David. I don't know Alex's status because he wasn't here when we were talking about it, I don't think. But either way, go fucking get vaccinated. Keep people safe. All right? You suckers.
Damn,
Yeah,
the
keep
fun
yourself
fact.
out of the hospital. That's what I say.
Yeah, for facts. It's dangerous.
Anyway.
All right. So, the Super Bowl halftime show, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I was not aware of this until about last year, I want to say, that the artist that performs it does not get paid by the venue whatsoever. The label will produce the show in and of themselves entirely, and the venue does not at all pay for them to do that because it's a massive publicity thing, and their sales skyrocket consistently every single time. It happened for After Hours and Starboy for The Weeknd after he did it, and it happened for Katy Perry, it happened for Maroon 5, every single band that does the
Mars,
show,
yeah.
Bruno Mars, every single band or artist that does the show gets a sales skyrocket, so it's worth spending the money. Normally that money is about like $1 or $2 million. I couldn't find exact figures. I don't think it's public information for whatever reason, or they don't report on it that cleanly. But it's not that much. It's insane amount for The Weeknd because he spent $7 million of his own money for Trevor. I'm going to ask you this because I expect you to know at the least. How long is the Super Bowl halftime show?
It's like 15 minutes.
David, how long is it?
Around half an hour.
No way.
Alex, how long is it?
It's at least a half an hour.
The halftime show itself? always has to be exactly 12 minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So he spent
okay.
$7 million on a 12-minute show, on a 12-minute performance. It was
That
nuts.
makes sense.
It was wild. So
Wow.
the show must go on. He really put
I
it
Just
down.
think
And
about the time it takes for it to get back to the football, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
guess I
think
was
it's
thinking
That's
about
almost
the time.
$2 million a minute.
yes.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it's Yeah.
Considering he made $250 million on an off year, shout out to Here We Go Again.
yeah.
I think he's got it. He's
ends
all right.
ends up being worth. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's all right.
So yeah, that's that. I can certainly then hop into his history, his accolades, some of his
do it.
chart numbers. As we said before, his name is Abel Tesfaye. Tesfaye. I don't know how many vowel sounds
Just
are
go with
supposed to be in
Tesfaye.
there, but Tesfaye. He has 3 Grammys, 19 Billboard Music Awards, 15 Juno Awards, which the Juno Awards are like the Canadian Grammys ish. 6 American Music Awards, 2 MTV Video Music Awards, and an Academy Award nomination for his work on "Earned It" on the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack, which we talked about, which was the launch pad for his career, as I understand it. BD Behind the Madness went 4 times platinum, and on that album, Can't Feel My Face went 8 times platinum, and The Hills went 11 times platinum.
Wait, The Hills is more than...
The Hills did did better numbers than Can't Feel My Face. Yeah,
That song is dumb. I don't know
No,
if
it's crazy, but like,
yeah,
Can't Feel My Face is like his like grand like star step into like stardom. Like, yo, like
yeah. I know.
here, like
It's just how it happens.
I'm very accessible. I'm singing about cocaine, and you think it's about, you know, a lover.
yeah.
But it's both.
I remember. Yeah, the Hills has like a couple billion on YouTube, right? Like that song. Got,
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. It's just because that music video is crazy, from what I
that's
understand.
true
so.
too. Yeah. Yeah.
After that was Starboy, which the album itself went 3 times platinum, and the titular track Starboy went 8 times platinum by itself and peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Nice.
Definitely stayed there for a while. I didn't look up how long, but a while, I'm sure. Same thing with After Hours. The release after that by itself went 2 times platinum and 2 times platinum. And Blinding Lights was the most successful track off there. That went 8 times platinum and peaked at number 1 on the Hot 100. And Dawn FM, the current one we are listening to, debuted just last week. We're recording on, or 2 weeks ago. We're recording on the 20th. I believe it was released on the 7th. Is that correct, Trevor?
Yep, January 7th, 2022.
So just 2 weeks ago about. And it was it debuted at number 2, which it still remains at. So
Yep, because Gunna fucking released the same day, and
Correct.
y'all motherfuckers actually listened to Gunna over the weekend. Which
correct.
Is
Gonna beat the Weeknd?
Yep.
What?
yeah,
Yep. Gunna is dog shit. I'm sorry.
That's insane.
It is not good, as Mr. Fantano would say.
Wow.
That shit is trash, but
I didn't think he had that many fans. Jeez.
What?
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I know he's big, obviously, but he's not like, I don't know. That's crazy to me.
he's damn near as big as Lil Baby, if not bigger.
So
Pause on all of that, but
I have a quote from Abel himself in a late November interview that I can either read before or after we each give our first takes. I kind of want to give our unadulterated first takes to each other, and then I can read what Abel says he wants people to listen to it as.
I think I've heard that quote, so
Probably.
just go ahead and give us a quote. Yeah.
All right, we'll do that. So, he said, picture the album like the listener is dead, and they're stuck in this purgatory state, which I always imagined would be like being stuck in traffic waiting to reach the light at the end of the tunnel. And while you're stuck in traffic, they got a radio station playing in the car, with a host guiding you to the light and helping you transition to the other side. So it could feel celebratory. It could feel bleak, however. It could feel bleak however you want to make it feel, but that's what the dawn is for me. So
That's essentially exactly how I felt about it as I kept listening to it more and more. So
yeah, I mean, there's definitely room to feel about it, but he's pretty strict with how he wants it to be interpreted, especially with the interludes with the fantastic Jim Carrey, who I didn't realize it was Jim Carrey doing that until I actually looked it up. No, it's just, I mean, Jim Carrey is a man of many voices and characters, right? So like, obviously it makes so much sense once I knew it was him, but like, I didn't pick up from that voice that it was definitely Jim Carrey. Yeah, it definitely seems like a character he's perfect for, and I'm so glad it's him.
But once you get to track 16, you see by Jim, and it's like,
a lot of people named Jim. I had to hear that too.
Fam.
Jim who? Yeah, exactly.
Bro, you can't hear Jim Carrey's voice and say that's Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
when he's got an interlude with fucking Quincy Jones, I think there's only one Jim that would be on this album.
That's not expected, man.
That's fair, but
yeah, he's not going like Ace Ventura on there. Freaking.
He's definitely not. He's more Yes Man on there, but
there you go. Yes Man.
Yes Man's fantastic.
Classic movie. Dang.
Absolutely.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
How
cool
do you feel about this album though? That's the long and short of it. I want to hear it.
Talk about
Alex,
it.
How do you feel about it, baby?
It's okay.
Oh my fuck.
There you go.
Right. David, how do you feel about it, my G?
I'm Nihilist. David, Alex, change your name to Nihilist right now.
Dang.
What?
Never mind.
Listen, brother. Well, you know what? I was this album grew on me, so I'm happy to report that. My first listen, I was ready to give it like a 4.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Like it did grow on me. I wasn't into it. I mean, I wasn't in the best mood when I first started it anyway, but it was like, man, this is so vapid and it's too long, and it could be a little shorter still, I think, personally, but it's just I started to appreciate I mean, obviously the production's great, but just the way he goes over it and like the songwriting and just the melodies and everything is kind of just a bop, and everything sounds good, and so I'm you can dance to it, you can whatever.
I'm still stuck on that vapid comment. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I started to pick up on some more lyrics. I don't think it's too deep still, personally, but I enjoy it just for like the sound of it, honestly.
The songs themselves individually, I would agree with you. I don't think that they're entirely that in depth, but when you look at it in like the whole, especially when you like get into like tracks like At a Time or Less Than Zero, there's a lot of depth to them, and I like that they have an extended version of Take My Breath, which even gives like another 2 minutes to the already like 3.5 minute track, and it's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I listened on 2 separate 2-hour car rides mostly. That was most of my listening, and then I did another one before the podcast. The second one of which I was a drive in the dark, part of which was like during snow flurries, which if you've never driven in the dark in snow flurries, you Florida boys, it's kind of like, the Star Wars, like when they go light speed and like the stars are like rushing by them on the black screen. Yeah. It's kind of like that, honestly. Yeah. Right. It's different because there's a freaking road in front of you and you got to be safe and whatever. It's not, but anyway, yada, yada, yada. So it was like, I was talking to Trevor, literally having this conversation earlier today about how it was like, I listened to it the first time and Jim Carrey is like perfectly unsettling in like a calming way, which like doesn't make sense. It's like an exact yin yang of like the voice and the things and the voice, his voice and the things he's saying. It reminded me of like Portal, kind of, where like GLaDOS is like in her monotone voice saying she's gonna kill you or stuff like that, or like, but like I think in the Fallout games, like they're like, the world has been nuked, but that's okay because you're in the vault, and it's like that kind of thing where it was like everything is ending, but that's okay. We'll guide you through this painless transition, and I was like, like it gives you shivers. It's bizarre as hell. So I had that experience, and I was like, it's spooky. Like I'm not sure if I want to listen to it on the way back, Trev. I don't know. I want to have like be in a better mind state.
You really like described the perfect setting.
Yeah, exactly. And then I squared up to a 2.5 hour drive home knowing it was going to be like that, and was like, dang, this is the perfect mindset to be in to actually experience this as a collective work of art, because I agree with you kind of heavily, David. Like, I didn't realize until I went through it track by track that basically every single track is a relationship song to one degree or another. It's about a different woman, or maybe the same, some of them might be about the same woman at different time periods in his life. And honestly, the whole album runs like a flashback of like his life is flashing before his eyes after death, and some of the most remarkable parts are all the relationships he's been in and dealt with, and how he experienced them, and maybe regrets or doesn't regret them. Like Sacrifices is he's like, I don't regret it, and like Out of Time he does.
That's like that. Sacrifice and Best Friends are like probably the most quintessential, and probably like Here We Go Again are like the most quintessential like Weeknd tracks, where they're like you can quote unquote spin them to be toxic, but there's not a lot of toxic shit on here, which he's normally known for, like his hedonism and all that, where he's like he's glorifying his drugs and alcohol abuse. This one not so much.
For sure, yeah. It's
kind of a different take for him.
Which was, I'm just going 75 cruise control miles at a time, few other people on the highway, not a lot of people around him, so I'm largely alone in my mental state, just like in this darkness, and just like listening to it not as like individual tracks and like getting super deep into it, but like basically almost treating his voice like as another instrument and letting it like flow over me like that was a really interesting experience of just like I kind of just like let it sit over my brain as opposed to like analyzing every bit of it, and it was super cool. So yeah, it's that's the last thing I said to you in that conversation was like the gap between what it's like to listen to the individual tracks off of this as opposed to in order how they're sequenced together with all the interludes is such a massive gap that I can't like compare it much. Maybe I know people like, say Damn is kind of like that maybe, but or Damn has outright bangers. I was thinking of like the storytelling.
Damn, you can listen to it. You're probably thinking about like To Pimp a Butterfly or something like that, but
maybe
Damn, you can listen to any track and get the point. But I wanted to say, like, bouncing off of exactly what you were saying, where you're letting it wash over you like as a whole project versus picking it out piece by piece. It gives me assurance that the idea of the album is not dead yet. Yeah, that people still care about seamless transitions between songs. People care about the sequencing. People care about where you put these tracks and how you hear them, where you hear them, when you hear them. That's still very reassuring, because in today's world, to use David's word, vapid, it's a lot of let's listen to it once, move on. There's far too much. We're just skimming through it. This is definitely different from that. There's no like outright single on here besides Take My Breath or like Sacrifice, which is also another different take for him because he's very single driven too. So, and
there's like the this is like kind of heavy inference as opposed to like the data definitely says this, but like if you look at the play count on Spotify, like some of the skits, I think the least listened to one is like 10 mil or something like that. And then most of like all the skits and the songs sit like somewhere between like 16 and 22 million plays ish. And then like the highest one is like 44 million or something like that. But and there's a couple of those. So there's a couple outliers, but most of them is sitting around like high teens, low 20 millions. And that like lends itself to the idea that people are just listening to this album like front to back, as opposed to like picking out individual little bits as much as they are seeing it as a full body of work, which is how I enjoyed it by far the most. So yeah.
I will say I love that point, but I will say a lot of times, at least with these bigger albums, these like AAA, releases,
especially the Weeknd, artists like
especially
him.
The Weeknd, maybe like a Drake. These songs will have relatively the same listens besides like the hit singles, So like for on like Certified Lover Boy, it'll be like what was it, the Travis joint, Fair Trade. That one will probably be like a higher one versus like the others, but. Yeah, people still listen to albums, but it's just refreshing to know that people still care about listening to the whole thing.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying is like how many millions of times it seems that it's the whole thing has been listened to as opposed to just the singles. But yeah,
right,
yeah, nice,
yeah, cool. All right,
anything
you want to go Do
Track by
we
track.
do we have anything to add? Do we want to go track by track? How do we want to handle this?
We could certainly add, or we could just go like beginning to end, sort of generally. I don't know what you guys feel, but
Do we have a favorite singular track, everyone?
I do. I personally do, but that's me.
yeah, I do.
I usually
too.
do.
What's yours, David? I know Trevor's.
Yeah, I spoiled.
I kind of go a little bit back and forth. Yeah, actually, that's a funny story, Trev.
Dang.
What's yours,
Yeah.
David? Do you have one?
Take My Breath is my favorite. Yeah.
Okay. Do you
yeah.
prefer the extended version or do you prefer the single version?
Yeah, extended version usually. We were talking about it
Just
earlier.
asking the dumb questions for the people that didn't hear.
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, that extended part is like my favorite part of the album. Probably it's incredible.
Because we were
It's tied with that and the "Oh Baby" from Sacrifice for me in terms of like my favorite. Not counting Phantom Regret by Jim because that's probably the biggest highlight of this entire album for me. But
Wow.
the "Oh Baby" from Sacrifice is like dopamine instant. Like you. Okay, I went to go grocery shop earlier, right? And I'm listening to this album. And I was making one trip, and I made two because I had to get paper towels, and I was like, I can't handle two at once. Pause. So I went and I was power walking to Sacrifice. Try it. Try power walking to Sacrifice.
Oh,
It's exhausting.
is power walking a euphemism for something else, Trevor?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It could
bro.
be. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh baby. No, that's not. No.
But okay. That's not what I meant, but it's kind of what I meant. It's close to what I meant.
That's exactly what you meant.
It's close to what I meant. Anywho,
So Phantom Regret's your favorite. What are your guys' favorites? Do you have one?
Phantom Regret is whose
Oh
favorite?
no. Would that count as your favorite?
It's tied with me, Phantom Regret and Sacrifice. Is
Oh,
my two
okay.
favorites.
Gotcha.
If I had to throw some favorite tracks up there, I'd probably say Less Than Zero.
Okay,
Less
And
than Zero is insane too. Yeah.
How Do I Make You Love Me?
Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like the hook on that one a lot.
Yeah,
The
for
Less
sure.
Than Zero hook is actually really great too, and it's so deep into the album. You would think it'd be like a little like further in, but or a little earlier in, but
I like
And the
Listen
synths
to
are pretty playful, and I like it just goes like doo 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 doo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, the Take My Breath synths on the hook is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
crazy. Like it's like an explosion of sound.
Yes,
It's
sir.
Like
Yeah, so we were watching the music videos so that we had like the full cultural
we can talk
context
about-
of the
yeah,
album.
we can talk about that.
And so we were talking about like, oh, how long is the Take My Breath music video? And I was like, oh, it's only 3.5. They like cut off the instrumental parts. And I think Trevor, you said, do you mean the best parts? And David goes, up arrow. And I just laughed because I agreed exactly as much as well. Like the instrumentals of Take My Breath are just so clean, and they're
ridiculous.
Like, even in the car,
And
the sound
the song doesn't feel the same. Like it doesn't even sound like the same
Yeah,
song
yeah.
without the breakdowns that they have in front
Agreed.
of it.
And so if especially in headphones, like good headphones, and well, even just like AirPods would do it probably as well. But the
He's
car
not cool, Trevor.
the car I was listening to it in had a good enough sound system that it did it, where the sound literally like revolves around you as it like switched left to right, but it doesn't like fade in and out like going sideways on your head. It literally feels like it's going in a circle around you, which is so
Like 3D
such
audio.
yeah, exactly. Which is such a nice like interesting touch to give like more of a tactile feel to music. Is so cool. Yeah.
Damn, I had a
For me,
fucking
it's
great point, and then
it's got to be. I can't decide between Sacrifice, Take My Breath, and Gasoline. I think
Take
if
My Breath is
gun to my
it's
head,
like
I think
the
I'd say
obvious pick.
Sacrifice.
Take My Breath is the obvious pick just because it is the lead single, and he released it in August, which we went and watched all the music videos, like Cameron just said, and like I just said, he released the music video in August for Take My Breath, and at the very end, he plays like 4 seconds of Sacrifice, and he's on the ground,
Yeah.
and he's like getting trampled by the crowd, and you don't like understand that that's another part of the album until you listen to it 5 fucking months later, and you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like So that's
Yeah.
another tack in the wall of, you know, him actually caring about putting an entire album together. Like he's been working on this for months, and
Yeah.
he's like, it's like he's just putting these action pieces into play. It's really cool to watch.
And you were saying the Sacrifice music video is the first 4 seconds of it is the end of the
Yep.
Take My Breath music video. Like it
Yeah.
literally
It's like
transitions straight
it's
in.
a-
If you
It's
if
a
you stitch them
direct,
together.
Yep. If you just put them in a playlist, it's the direct connection.
It'd be
it's
seamless.
almost like a one
Yeah.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be seamless. Yeah, it's super cool. I love stuff like that.
One more thing about Take My Breath before I forget. The music video, if you watch it, I don't know if it is on the album. I can't remember it now, but when you listen to it on the music video, you can hear him breathe in on the second hook, like right before it kicks in. But it makes sense in terms of the music video because he's got a respirator.
Yeah.
So he's literally like taking his breath, and that music video is crazy because he's getting like hogtied by these fucking ponytails,
Braids,
which
yeah.
is nuts. Yeah, like he's dying in the
Yeah.
music video.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like at least one person dies in every Abel
honestly-
Tesfaye video.
honestly hate Take My Breath. Honestly hate it. It's terrible. It's the
All right.
because this band had like absolutely no business making a song this good that's just about choking a girl during sex. It's literally just about choking. It's we're gonna show up and we're gonna
That's a
it's just it's that's what it's about. That's what it is.
great. I mean, that's a great interpretation of the lyrics, but that's definitely not the only thing that song's about.
Let me embrace your fantasy. All that stuff.
So
I love her fantasy. Baby says, "Take my breath away. You're the best to do it."
yeah, the fuck, who
All that
cares?
stuff.
Like, fam.
It's just about this girl he knew who was kinky as hell.
The phrase being breathless,
And he
it
wrote-
doesn't mean that you're just being choked.
He wrote an absolute banger.
He did.
I'm fine with that being the meaning. It's that freaking when the instrumental's going and then he comes back in with the that just
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
bruh.
yeah. Yep. No, I know
good.
exactly what you're talking about.
But yeah,
that
yeah.
fucking that whole like minute sequence of the dance breakdown that's like in the middle and in the beginning where it's got like the pulsating breath that
Yeah.
cuts
Yeah.
in and out. Oh,
the syncopated
God.
breaths.
Yeah.
It's- it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I can't listen to the single version. I have to listen to the
No,
extended
yeah.
version.
Frick that. Yeah, absolutely.
Wild.
And that was a pleasant surprise too, because apparently, like when that song first came out, like 5 months ago, like 4 days later, he put out the extended version, and I didn't realize that. Like I had just listened to the single version, and then I was listening to the
yeah.
album, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Same.
I looked at the track, and I'm like, it's like 5.5 minutes. I'm like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
a whole new song right here.
I listened to it for like a good minute before I was like, is this that song? Because I don't remember it taking this long to get to the poppy part, like the actual radio part.
Yeah.
So no, it was definitely weird, but I'm thankful for it. I definitely like we all are saying it's the preferred version. So
I have to pee. Hold on, hold the phone. I have to pee so bad. Hold on.
go work at a fucking library, why don't you?
Take my breath away, how don't you? And we're back, baby.
Okay.
I'm definitely leaving the library comment in with no context. All right, so
All right. Anyway,
You're lesson 0.
You should live to
that's just so hurtful. I can't believe you've said something.
All right, and
You
we
should
are
have
out of
replied with "Don't
time.
break my heart."
We're out of time.
when will it end?
No, we're best friends.
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
here we go again.
God.
Here we go.
Oh my god, Jesus
Experiencing
Christ!
Phantom regret.
Is there someone else
Stop
that can do this
it.
podcast for me?
That's someone else.
Okay.
I love it.
Anyway. Yes. This album's pretty good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks for that, homie.
Yes.
Heaven is cool.
That first track definitely gas.
Science rules.
Trevor's too easy, man. It's too easy.
I'm easy when I'm drunk, man. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
dude, it's good.
Jesus.
All right, you were saying, David. Sorry, sorry,
that
bro.
first track.
Gasoline caught me off guard when I first heard it with that voice he was doing, and then
Yeah,
you're seconding that. Yeah.
No, it's track 2.
Oh, okay, bro. The first song though,
There you
and when but that chorus is so good that It just grew on me so much.
It's incredible.
It's stuck in my head so much, and it's a great intro to the album.
The funny shit is like that you say that song had to grow on me. Like it took me like a good 3 or 4 listens, and I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but I listened to this album like 12 times before we reviewed it. So by the 3rd listen, I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm starting to understand like where he's going with this, like with the deadpan, like almost like British, like as my mom says, Depeche Mode delivery.
Interesting.
And then he goes right into his traditional Abel voice, and it's seamless. Like,
yeah.
And he's saying some crazy shit on this song.
Yeah, dude. It is like the entire album is like that, where like his voice is so like soft and seductive and like pleasant to listen to the entire time, and sometimes he's just saying like dark, depressing shit, like about
that entire like 2 sentences that you just said is his entire discography.
I know, like I realize that the more and more it happens is like, but like this is, like I said, this is my first time listening to The Weeknd for an hour straight, as opposed to I listen to Blinding Lights and then another pop song comes on. Like is like, so like when you really get inundated by it, track after track after track, and like realize like this is just how it is. Yeah. It's
just listen to Starboy like once.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah,
okay.
I'm sure.
All right. Yeah,
I felt like it was the same thing with the music videos too, where it looked like he was like gesturing and like putting more force into his words, like with his face, than would come out like like the voice doesn't match the physical like gestures and
especially
everything.
with the sacrifice where he's on the spinning wheel. Yeah, and he's like, you know, he's animating his voice and his throat's like showing his veins and shit.
Exactly, yeah. And it's like, but his voice is coming out so sweet and nice. It's like, damn, what the fuck is happening?
I really enjoy that quality to his voice where it just sounds so easy and just clear, and it like projects so much. But he can be like, it can be totally effortless. And then when he really wants to belt it out, he can have that like range
baby
of
moments,
projection or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, baby moments.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh. That's nice.
Yeah, like how do you make and I love it when you watch me sleep, like if I finally die in peace, just wrap my body in these sheets. How do you make that so
and pour
catchy?
out the gasoline?
Yeah, and how do you make that so fucking catchy, so happy, so I just want to dance. Like what the fuck? Like I shouldn't be dancing to this.
Yeah.
And the music video for that was intense too. And he like I took that as like
he's literally killing himself.
He's killing himself. I took it as like his like old him is not literally old him. It's more of like he's viewing his possible like demise and regret and everything. Like the idea that you go out and you party and you do crazy shit and you know it's killing you, but you just put that away. And like so like him putting away the idea that it's killing him in order to enjoy himself in the moment is like him literally beating the shit out of his older self.
That's exactly how I took it.
Yeah. So it's just like, but like the way that he like committed to making the music video in and of itself, like its own thing, with the like the sound effects of him like crushing his own skull and stuff like that was just so intense.
Yeah, he like throws a haymaker at one point, and I fucking started laughing because it was like, I mean, there's only so much you can do. He's not like an action star, so it kind of looks a little corny when he's doing it, but it was just funny as shit when he throws a fucking like right hook and then he just falls on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
the prosthetics on the face, and
it's supposed to look, you know, desperate and like haggard almost, like where it's just like, fuck, like get away from me.
It looks kind of funny.
Yeah, no, I get it, but it's like I think he does well. It's I don't know. Do we know if he directs his own stuff or if that was like put together by anyone that we would know?
I'm not that big of a fan to where I know like who he works with and his crew and all that shit. Yeah, but I know for a fact that he's got a huge influence on what happens in these music videos because they've been like this for a decade now. So
yeah, like you said, he has that brand and he has that through line, which is something I could get into. Like I was listening to this album, and when I wasn't liking it, I was like, man, I know The Weeknd makes decently long albums, and he has a lot of them. And from what I've heard, they're like about the same stuff. But then that became a positive when I started to enjoy it, because I'm like, okay, like I like this idea of like the contrast of these huge bops and these songs that sound so great, and then him just like, you know, being like, I'm a terrible person, I'm toxic,
Yeah.
like whatever,
Yeah.
regretting stuff, different sides of it that he's showing. So I like that brand that he has and that persona, and I think now that I'm liking it, I think it's interesting to check out because people say like he was more R&B before, and now he's obviously doing like a throwback thing. He's mixing in modern pop, obviously, and R&B, but like to go into the different sounds would be interesting. Like the trilogy, people love House of Balloons, that kind of stuff.
Speaking of the trilogy, we are currently in the middle of the second trilogy of his
I heard that.
discography. Yeah,
Yeah.
where I'm pretty sure he came out and said that, but After Hours is the first bit, like sort of like House of Balloons was, and then you got Dawn FM, and then I'm certain there's gonna be like a late afternoon kind of album
Late afternoon.
to wrap up the trilogy. But
I heard people were saying it would be called Afterlife because of that skit
Ooh.
in there, which makes
That's
sense.
hard.
Late afternoon.
Yeah, dude.
hard.
What is it? Every angel is
Angel's terrifying.
Every angel is terrifying. That was a nice little trip in the middle of the thing.
That is like an infomercial at 3 a.m. drunk as shit with a credit card in your hand, like ready to order Afterlife kind of thing.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're drunk and the narrator of the commercial is drunk because like they just say like 18 different things that like make sense
Dude,
that are
okay,
like cut
yeah.
together
Let me-
clips.
I gotta-
It's like
I
one
have
of
to
those
close that
things.
shit.
It's like one of those things where an AI like they feed an AI a bunch of movie scripts and it like generates its own. And so it's like they fed an AI a bunch of infomercials and it generates its own. And it's like shocking, crazy, like whatever. And then it sounds like it's three different products in the same thing. It sounds like it's like a movie or like something you would buy and use, or like they're like attend or like call now, and it's like they're it's so bizarre.
There's a point where like he like literally like, cuts himself off, like he's like it stops and it's almost like a record is skipping, and then like a second later it's like for $4.95, like
Yeah.
That line, the critics say Afterlife makes your current life look like a total comatose snooze fest.
Yeah.
That shit makes me laugh every time.
There was
Dang.
what was that last one? Let me find it in the in my notes. It was like an experience you'll never forget. Don't say we didn't warn you. And I was like, oh man, like that's like a 2-sentence horror film. It's like you'll never forget. Don't say we didn't warn you. That you'll never forget about it. Oh, Jesus,
Not
what am
to
I getting
mention
myself
the-
into? Kind of the thing.
Not to mention the angel number with the 444 reference.
Yep.
So
Dang.
to order Afterlife plus $3.95 or $3.79 shipping and handling now. Intense, graphic,
It's
sexy,
crazy, man.
euphoric.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that skit is insane. It's awesome.
The only thing I can describe it as, really, like most accurately, is a trip. Like it's just like
Yeah.
you don't like it's just happening to you. Like you're a passenger. Like you have no agency in what's being thrown at you there. It's wild.
And the first time I heard it, I was like, I don't ever want to hear this again.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to hear this again. And then I kept hearing it, and I'm like, wow, this gets funnier and funnier as I listen to it.
It has,
This
like,
is,
a weird
it
hook.
makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, holy shit. Like there's a like it's almost like a weird buildup too, because it's like the first couple like 20 seconds or so, it's like a weird like laser tag-esque like sound that hits you, and you think it's another song, and then it goes into the interlude, and it's like, what the fuck is happening? Like you said, it's a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I want to like it comes on and I want to skip it, but then I'm like, like
Yeah, no.
but it's so
and then you're
weird. Like I want to hear it again.
It's
I
like
want
visually
to
stunning.
like I want it to like make sense in my head in a way that it doesn't, and it's like it scratches it. It like almost creates an itch in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I don't
Nigel
know.
and Frank call it a fucking classic.
that part's funny. That part's actually funny. I don't find the
keep my eyes
entire.
off the screen.
I find it too bizarre to find it like haha funny. Like it just.
Oh,
it's-
I belt out. Like every time I walk the lake around my house.
No, I
and
get that.
I'm just like
I
I'm
get
just
that.
dying laughing in public. It's so funny to me.
yeah. I don't know.
Wow.
It's,
Yeah, David's like, damn, I need to listen to it again.
Yeah, I know.
it's
'cause
bizarre as hell.
I mean, I'm just picturing you laughing in public. That's
I do it a lot. I'm happy these days. So
There you
There's
better than
one
crying in
part
public.
if we want to
I've
talk
done
about
that too.
if you want to mention a random mass part that makes me laugh on Here We Go Again which is I think about like
Top 3.
that's top 3 for you, huh?
Oh dang, okay.
That little, I don't know if, I think it's a xylophone where he's like, here we go again. That's probably my favorite line in it. Life's a dream because it's never what it seems. I quoted that like twice on my story because I'm like a fucking basic white girl bitch, but
Yes. Agreed.
I'm calling myself a bitch, not women.
We can all
make that
agree with
clear.
that.
Good clarification.
But yeah, no. I'm
Yeah.
an experienced podcaster. I'm out here, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Like riding a bicycle.
Facts. No, but yeah,
Nice.
that song is awesome to me.
But there's a part where he's like, and you didn't expect for me to fall once you got this, and you didn't expect to fall for me once you got this dick. And in the background, there's an applause like
I know.
sitcom sound effect, and it's like, bro, Abel, that's too much. That's too much,
Yeah.
dog. You can't.
Well,
you
think
can't give
that's
this
too much.
You
Don't
can't give
listen
this.
to his other shit. Like
You can't. No, I don't think it's too much. I'm being sarcastic, but it's like, or I'm being facetious. But it's like you put the sitcom sound effect after you making a girl fall in love with you over your sex life. Like, that's far too much.
Yep.
It's like I want to use the word petty because I don't have a better word, but like,
No, it's petty.
yeah.
He also like that's like I was saying earlier, that's the most Weeknd track on here where he's like, it's sort of rapping, there's no drums, and he's just kind of flowing, he's bragging. Like this is the most braggadocious track on here.
Yeah.
And it's probably like the only one that he is bragging on. Where he's like a quarter bill on an off year. We're still celebrating the Super Bowl kind of shit. Shit that only he can say
Yeah.
is being said. Like my new girl is a movie star. Like what?
Yeah.
You gonna sign this prenup?
Oh yeah, the Tyler bit. He says you gonna sign this
Yes.
prenup 4 or 5 times in a row.
4, and that's the only
The
flaw
music
in
cuts.
that verse. That's the only flaw for me.
Okay,
Because
God.
like, dude, it's
I was
like a
gonna-
16.
yeah.
What's up?
No, because I felt that same way when I heard that. I was like, what does he say? What is he talking about? Like, I get what he's talking about, but the way he like says it, like delivers it, it like threw me off. And I'm like, I thought you were about to like love it, and I'm about to say, bruh.
I'm totally with you. And then as I kept listening to it and as I kept digesting what he was saying in that verse, it makes a lot more sense that would be the refrain in that verse. I still don't like it sonically, but I totally get what he's saying. Like he's like, he's talking, and I'm not looking at the lyrics, but he's saying something about if it fails, like my pen and pad are gonna save my ass. I make a lot of money, so you're gonna sign this prenup. But
Yeah.
I still want to try love, but I'm still too afraid. I'm locking my heart behind a paddock, kind of thing.
Yeah, he reminded me of Kanye on that verse a lot. Like the first time I heard it, and it's he like matches the Weeknd's energy. I think it's just like,
Yeah.
girl, I love you, but like, bruh,
I love what I own as well.
Yeah.
I've worked too hard for me to throw it away. No, I totally get the point of it. It's just it's a little weird sonically.
Are you referencing if you ain't no punk hollow, we want prenup? We want prenup.
That's probably why it connected. But he just has that energy of like,
It's very animated. It's like that track. Weirdly enough, considering it doesn't have drums, it's very animated. Like he flow. It's almost like Weeknd's flow is so immaculate that it is the drum pattern itself. That's how I felt when I was listening to it.
Yeah, he makes up for. He has like really interesting vocal lines, and just like he'll mix it up on you, and just he's very present on the track. So
Yeah,
I mean, they know how to like build a full track no matter what they're doing. Like clearly, him and his producers are just in sync. Cause
they're doing it like Justin Timberlake.
There you go. Yeah, there's really not a bad produced song on this album. I don't think.
I agree.
It all sounds amazing. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, and I think the only really weak track for me is "Don't Break My Heart." I think that's the only one that I'm like, I'm cool. Like I got that with "How Do I Make You Love Me." I got that with "I Heard You're Married." Like,
yeah, "Don't Break My Heart" is probably my least favorite.
Yeah, it's just there.
I don't know. It's like middle of the pack for me, I'd say. It's
I still like it.
I don't know. Well, that being said, I do still, like I said, my overall take is like I enjoy this through like as a overall body of work as opposed to the individual bits. So it's like everything is either mid or like a standout kind of, where like I appreciate it as a singular like bit of the story, but I'm not gonna like call it trash. I don't know.
I get that. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, Don't Break My Heart. It's just like late in the album, like I guess like you, Trevor. It's like, why do we need to rehash this? And it's such a boring way to say it. Like, don't break my heart. Like,
he's done so much more like interesting shit on this album up to that point, and it's like it's track 13, so it's like you're almost to the end, and it's like I got this 7 tracks ago. Like I don't need this again. So that could have skipped, or that could have snipped. Starry Eyes.
Isn't that the point of the song? That you got it 7 tracks ago? Because Don't Break My Heart is all about he can't take another heartbreak.
Well,
I can't take another track of him talking about I can't take another heartbreak.
It's meta-analysis. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Alex, you feel me? I guess the other one that I would kind of snip, which ironically I like the song, but Starry Eyes just doesn't do it for me either.
I feel like Starry Eyes would be hard if it had like a drums.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I think it doesn't have the idea. Like it's almost like Is There Someone Else is like 5 minutes. And I actually told you guys before we listened to this, like, oh, there's a couple 5-minute tracks, and there's only one. It's Take My Breath. And I thought that Is There Someone Else was also longer. But that's because Starry Eyes follows immediately after.
Yeah.
And there's a seamless transition.
Yeah.
So it's like the same song.
I
would love it if Is There Someone Else, like, Starry Eyes with it.
Yeah, I get that. That would be cool.
That's just me, but... And he's known for longer tracks. Like in his like first 3 mixtapes, the shortest track would be like 4.5 minutes. Like every track is like at least 5. So I'm curious as to why he wasn't doing that even more now. But especially with the Take My Breath extension. But that's just me.
Yeah, I love those longer multi-phase tracks. Oh, yeah.
Especially when they're interesting. Like he's actually attempting to do something with it. He's not like filling the time. He's not filling the space with it.
Definitely. Yeah. Because that, Is There Someone Else? Was that the one I was just playing? I get confused a little bit with the titles.
Is There Someone Else has like the chipmunk soul sample at the beginning.
That beat, bro.
Yeah, that song is immaculate.
Yeah. Dang. And it's just great because at first I was like, oh, it's so regular. I don't know why I was like, I mean, I get it.
No, don't feel like that because I felt like that too the first listen. I was like, and this is one of those that you really do need to digest. Like, ironically enough, I get it. I was just like that.
It's cool because we're talking about how it's better as an album experience. You need to digest it, but it's not because it's like one narrative that you need to figure out or something, or like, oh, It's just like you get the vibe of it. You pick up the production. You get like the general character he's painting and stuff, and it just like gets more in your head. And it's a testament to that of just like, I don't know, any kind of music you can like that's good that has stuff there. You can like dive deep into it and like get more enjoyment out of it. It's nice, yeah.
I totally agree, dude. I totally agree. How do we feel about the Tale by Quincy and the Phantom Regret interludes? Do we like the interludes on here?
Those are my 2 favorite interludes, I would say, because like they don't always connect for me, like with the like when he has something about like purgatory and then it goes into a love song. I guess I get it with the connections you guys are making, but the Quincy one like directly connects to like Out of Time because then he talks about like his trauma, and I think that's really cool.
Not only that, but that line in that interlude, like looking back's a bitch. Like it goes right into Out of Time. Which
Damn true.
Like you can listen to that song in 2 ways. You can listen to it with him saying, "Oh, I lost the attempt that I had at a lover," which is like the surface level way to look at it, right? Where he's like looking at a lover that, oh, I moved on, I don't love you anymore. I love this person. I'm out of time. I don't have that attempt anymore. Or you could look at it as him looking back on his life and saying, I love you so much, but I'm about to die. Like I can't go on anymore. Like it's almost like a terminal illness where he's got like 20 minutes to say everything that's on his chest.
Sure, yeah.
I mean that
This
It
album's
definitely-
deep, man. I'm sorry.
It-
I can't. I won't allow it to not be. It's deep as fuck.
It did feel confessional, where he
Yeah.
is, talking to a past lover, but it does lend himself more to the literal meaning with the ending lyrics about like if he slips up, just like let me know, you still have my number.
The
Like,
whole second
hit
verse,
me up.
it kind of throws a wrench.
Yeah. But I do like the interpretation of the more existential version of it, but it can still be both at the same time. I think is like
No, I agree.
So
I think the verses lend to the more like surface level like interpretation of it, and then you get into the hook and you're like, okay, I can interpret this two different ways, kind of thing, which is totally fine.
Yeah, it's almost
It's
like
like a different experience every time you listen to it, because like you're trying to listen to it from different perspectives, and you're like, okay, let me connect the dots this way. Let me try it this way.
Yeah. It's almost like there's more feeling there than would lend itself to just the simple explanation. So there's got to be more going on in a way.
Right. Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
It's almost like less is more. That's what this album is for me.
Sure. Yeah. Which
Not
I like.
okay. So not. In the
I
way
just don't.
That, like,
I'm not sure I followed you, but if you want to elaborate, go ahead. But
he's not very verbose and upfront with the meaning per se. Like you can listen to it like how we did the first few times and be like, okay, this is vapid. This is just another love album. It's not.
Okay.
I
think I'm following
very
you now.
less is more. I'm only saying 8 words and they mean 1,000 different things, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Kind of like he says, pour out the gasoline, and the implication is then like that's disposal of the body, yada yada yada. But all he's saying is like gasoline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he says, yeah, okay, I get what you mean then.
I'm like, as we get into this episode, I'm more and more passionate about this album that I'm finding.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell.
The alcohol is lending to it. I had so much fun listening to this album, and it's been like the most easy listen I've had in quite some time.
Yeah, you guys are making me like it more and more, honestly.
I'm glad. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
It's like I'm so happy with my life at this moment, and listening to this album is kind of like the crown jewel of it as well. It's like icing on the cake for me. It's lovely.
The cherry on top.
Fantastic.
You love to hear it.
That's dope, dude.
Which is ironic because this album is not very happy.
Exactly.
Right.
It has that
is-
juxtaposition that we were talking about earlier of sounding like so pleasing and easy to listen to, but being about like overall like thematically depressing and very serious.
Right.
So yeah.
Was
So,
I the only
crazy.
one that thought that I Heard You're Married was going to go a different way?
Yes.
Just based on the track title.
I thought it was gonna be like one of his exes is married now, and he's like,
Yes.
looking.
Yes.
I'm looking back on this, and it's like, oh, like you weren't ready to settle down for a relationship with me, but like, oh, now you're just like went off and get married or something like
Yes.
that, like something along those lines.
That what you just said. That's Drake.
Yeah.
That is
Damn.
quintessential Drake.
Damn,
That
you're
is
right.
nothing into something's off of More Life Drake.
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna go this way.
Yeah.
And he did a girls like girls, but not where he's like, all right, we're gonna give you this song title. It's gonna be track 14, so you're gonna have to go through all this shit to listen to this one, and it's not gonna be what you think.
That's funny. Yeah. I did the same thing with Take My Breath, where I said take my breath away. And I like mentally added and I mentally added to the end of I Heard You're Married. I added now to the end of it. Like I turned it into I Heard You're Married now. When I jumped to conclusions about how the track was going to go, like we just talked about 2 minutes ago, I like mentally tacked on to the end like, oh, I heard you're married now, which made that track title made my like presumption of how it was going to go make more sense. But no, it's called I Heard You're Married, and it's about
I think my interpretation from the title
Alex,
was more.
let me before I forget. Are you saying that you hear him say now, or are you?
No.
Was that before you heard it?
No, I like literally looked at the track title that said I Heard You're Married, and I read it in my head as I Heard You're Married now. Like I just tacked it on without it being any sort of existent. I just like convinced myself that was what it was, and it's like
I thought you were pulling a me where you were like listening to and you heard it wrong. Like
no.
I thought you heard girl as now. That's what,
No,
would have done
no.
that shit.
No, yeah. It's what we're good.
What were you saying,
yes.
I think just going off the title, my interpretation is more like, "Hey, girl, I heard you were married, but I don't. What does that got to do with me? I'm the Weeknd."
True.
You know?
See,
Yeah.
that's another way to interpret it.
That's
Yeah,
another way it could
that's
go.
how I thought it was gonna go.
Based on stereotype.
Okay, so there's 3 ways that's not gonna win.
That's mad funny.
I think that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
But it doesn't. It like he's actually he's. I wouldn't say he's innocent, but like he was manipulated. He was used like by a girl that was cheating on her husband.
I mean, from his perspective, he's innocent because he's getting into this relationship.
Why I'm so like tentative to say that he's not innocent is because he's like, I can't be with you. You're deceitful. Like he already knows that she's married at that point, and then he's saying, I can't be with you because you're lying that you're married. I could be with you if you're married if you don't tell me, but because you're telling me, you're being deceitful to your already your partner, and now I can't be with you. That's how I
didn't hear it that way at all.
That's how I took it. But.
I don't know. I just went with the more straightforward of like he found out she's married, and now he's like, fuck this.
Yeah, but I heard it so many times that I had so many attempts to see it differently as I'm coming.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You're just sending yourself on a trip of your own.
I love this album, man.
Yeah, no, I can tell. Yeah, dude. No, I just saw the simple version. He's with this girl. She doesn't tell him that she's married, and then he finds out, and now he's like, "You're the worst. Bye."
Which is like the very This is exactly what the song is about. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Which
Lil Wayne doesn't have his best verse in years on there.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
But,
you're dirty. You like a dirty, and I'm dirty hair.
Yeah. Like, ooh, you really went in with that one.
Yeah, no, he did. No,
I had like
I don't mind him on it, but
I don't mind him on it either. I had a strange like phenomenon where like I didn't read the name, like who was like so I didn't know Lil Wayne was gonna be on it, but like I was like on my phone and it was playing, and then I seen like they just released a new Lil Wayne Funko Pop, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. And then Lil Wayne came on. I'm like,
that. Oh, so you're the protagonist.
That's your
trippy little movie moment.
the main character.
That's his version of Mulberry Street.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mulberry Street, I showed my mom that track for the first time. She had never heard it before until last night.
That's surprising.
The amount of times I fucking talked about that song, and she'd never heard it before.
She liked it.
She loved it. Yeah, she was popping her head.
Because
I wasn't looking at her like because we were in the car, but I was at a red light and I was able to see her in my peripheral, and she was just like.
Nice.
It's because y'all don't live together anymore, so she can't hear you blasting music in your room all the time.
Facts.
Yeah.
There was a time like 8 years ago. I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent, but I don't care. There was a time like 8 years ago where it was like 2014, and I was listening to this pop star called Lights, she's great, but she had just released an album, and I was blaring it in my room on my stupid little like computer speaker. I was probably on Xbox, and she comes in my room and she's like, why are you listening to that like girly shit? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, get the fuck out of my room, Mom. I'm playing Minecraft.
Dang, straight bullying you.
Goodness.
That's funny.
That's good, dude.
That's funny. Shout out,
Mom. Also, before I forget, shout out to Richard, our friend Richard. I had a little talk with him. He's a big Weeknd fan. I meant to say this earlier in the episode, but we had a little talk before, and I just wanted to shout him out. He's been listening to us, so we love you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate you, dude.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully he gets this far into the episode.
Oh, he will. This is a great episode right now. So no sarcasm, honestly. I like this one.
No, this is banging.
We've been doing really good. So
speaking of banging, you guys like best friends?
Okay, all right. Speaking of banging, that was dope. This one grew on me a lot. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I heard it, I was like, "This is a typical Weeknd."
Dang.
She don't want to fuck his friends no more.
Yeah, no. Sex as friends no more.
She don't want sex as friends no more.
No, she don't. She's my best friend now. No, she like the this was like an earworm today. Like it was in my head the entire day for like a good 6 hours straight at work, and I'm like, why the fuck is this in my head? And then I like listened to it earlier, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is good. I like this one.
Yeah, it was one of the most immediate ones to me when that beat comes on. It's just,
Yeah.
oof, God.
It's the most traditional Weeknd song on here.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's pretty like toxic, I guess. I mean, yeah.
No, I mean,
It's like,
I think
you
it's
could spin it
toxic.
toxic, but it's honest.
Yeah.
Like he's telling her exactly,
yeah.
you know, you don't want it anymore. All right, like you're my friend then. I'm moving on.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I guess not toxic, but yeah, I guess Weekend-ish. It's very. There's not much to the lyrics, but it's just like, oh, it sounds good.
I was kind of taking it as like she wants to get upgraded from friends with benefits to girlfriend, and he's like, all right, here's your upgrade. You're my best friends with benefits.
Oh, okay. All
That's
right,
that's kind of how I took it. Where
Well,
she's
I
like,
mean-
you're my best friend, girl. It's like, dang.
I love that interpretation, but unfortunately, I don't think it works. Just because like he literally says like you don't want to have sex as friends no more. So
That's what I'm saying. Like, she doesn't want to have sex as friends no more. She wants to have sex as a girlfriend.
She wants to be together.
She wants to have sex as his girlfriend. Like, so sex as friends is the tier below, like, with like being his
Best
girlfriend and
friends.
being exclusive. But he's like, no, there's actually a tier in the middle called best friends.
No,
where
there's this tier.
you're
This one's $6.99.
you're my favorite.
Yeah.
You're my favorite hookup as opposed to the other ones.
You're my first call. You're not my seventh call.
Exactly. Yeah. I text you up to you first as opposed to the rest of them. Yeah.
You up?
That's what I'm
Funny
saying.
interpretation.
I like. Okay, no, I like it.
Yeah, I'm with that. Okay.
So there you go.
No, Cameron, I'm with that. That makes.
I don't know if that makes you like the song more or less, but
I like the song now, so
yeah,
there's not a whole lot you can
Either
tell
way.
me about.
it's another one of those that doesn't like. I'm not rushing to like play it in and of itself, but it's once again an important chunk of the album that I wouldn't skip through. So
Yeah. And I think even the weak points like "Don't Break My Heart" for me or "Starry Eyes," I'm still not skipping it. Like it's weird. Like I had such a weird experience with this album because there's so many times where I'll love an album that we cover on this podcast and I'll still skip at least 2 or 3 joints. This one I'd never skipped. I didn't skip a single. I always started with Dawn FM. I always listened to Phantom Regret. I didn't skip it ever. Like I don't know how y'all felt about it, but in terms of how I listened to it, I'd never skipped a track, which is completely new to me.
A Tale by Quincy?
No, I never. I swear to God, every time I listen to this album, I listen to it front to back.
That's surprising to me, honestly.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. Huh.
brand new to me.
Yeah, the interlude was good for me for like it was shock value, honestly, because it was like
7 years old.
I'll never forget when she was taken away in a straitjacket. I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. Oh, that's intense. That's a lot. That's definitely not something
dementia.
anyone. So yeah, it got like very serious very fast, and I was like, holy shit. But I do
what he
get.
says afterward, he's like, I push away women when I get too close, and it was like totally subconscious. And then he says something about like, you know, looking back's a bitch. Like, I'm 25 and looking back as a bitch. Like, I can only imagine being, like how old Quincy is, like 78, 80.
Yeah.
You know, he's Michael Jackson. You know, he was that producer. He's been banging for like 50 years now. You know, kind of thing. But
Double entendre.
Of all time.
double entendre.
True.
Yeah. So yeah, and including that in the middle of this album through multiple relationship songs is like that Abel would then be trying to apply that same mentality to himself of like that he has these relationship problems that are due to things that went on in his life that were out of his control, which I know nothing about, but it seems to
Which
be
he indirectly says.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess I'll give you some backstory, but he, like right before he popped off when he was releasing those 3 mixtapes, he released those for free. He wasn't signed at the time.
Yeah,
he was homeless when he was when he was releasing those. He was like 20 years old, and he was like couch surfing in Toronto.
Yeah,
he's from Canada.
I knew that much.
Yeah, he was literally homeless, and like if you listen to, I think it's on Kissland. I think that it's the song called Kissland. He says, I went from being homeless to not even spending a night at my mansion that I own like 12 months ago. Yeah. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He had a Drake co-sign when he first started. He had Drake on a couple tracks. He was on Take Care.
rags to
He
riches.
gave like half of his mixtapes to him.
Came from
like,
bus
True
stops
Love
and
all that.
washing dishes.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah. The Quincy Jones thing was cool too, because I think The Weeknd is like the person who's compared to Michael Jackson the most in modern
most.
music, which I get. I mean,
That or Bruno maybe.
yeah, sure, but Weeknd, I mean, to me, sounds
Definitely
way
Weekend. Yeah, no,
sounds
definitely.
way much more like him to me. Yeah, and he
Agreed.
goes for that sound, which I mean, he does it well. He doesn't sound like he's trying to be a copy, but he just does it in his own way, which is
I
the
agree.
perfect mix if you're gonna go for that. So it was cool to be like, oh yeah, Quincy Jones also co-signs him, by the way.
Yeah. No, I
Pretty great.
absolutely, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that is sick to view that as like a signature of approval to have him featured on a project. That is,
Yeah.
I guess, a fact. Just like not even a way of looking at it. Like that's just like if someone like that agrees to be part of your body of work, then they're just saying like, yeah, man, you're it. Go for it.
Pretty nuts.
That's
The
awesome.
Weekend is it, and I think I don't think he's in his prime. I think his prime may have passed with maybe Starboy was his prime, but I think he's still making incredible music, and I'm so happy that he's still around 10 years later.
I think you could
Yeah.
call this an existential lull, and he could come back with some like insane stuff, just stuff that
Assuming the next album is about afterlife, I would assume it's going to be very insane. So
Yeah.
we
He-
gonna
he might
find
have-
out.
he might have. And I guess this would be the last point that I have. But when I first listened to it, I thought it was a dumbed down version of After Hours. And then as I listened to it, I'm like, this blows After Hours out of the water. Like it's not
Wow.
even close.
Wow. Okay.
After
Gotcha.
Hours is half the album that this is.
Damn.
Interesting. People
All
love
right.
that album. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't heard it, but
The funny thing, if you look at Pitchfork, I'm pretty sure After Hours is 7.9 and Dawn FM is 8, like on the dot. So it's like just barely better, but in terms of critics' eyes. But if you're only looking to the one,
yeah, I'm
Fantano
interested.
gave it an 8.
Yeah, I'm interested to check out his stuff because he has a big body of work. I'll probably go early first, but
It's cool to see him evolve because he's very alternative R&B the first like 3 projects, 4
Yeah.
maybe, and
I
then you
feel
get
like
to
I
like
might love. Yeah.
yeah, no, you'll dig it. House of Balloons is a classic.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. And it's people just love him. I don't know. He's huge and respected pretty much. It's one of those combinations. And it's
Yeah.
funny, I've just completely missed listening to any of his discography, but
He's just one of those that like he makes amazing music and he's on the radio, so he's like he's always been around, but you may have never just like dove into his discography like you were saying, like you know of him, you know his hits, but you
yeah.
didn't really listen to the album cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say the last thing is Less Than Zero. It's like the last thing I discovered before recording this podcast that made me like the album more, because I feel like I keep finding small things, and it happens to be the last song. But like before the skit, Trevor. I know it's not the last track.
I wasn't gonna say it. I thought I said it in my mind, but I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah. As he says, I thought he was saying like our love must be less than zero, but he's saying I must be less than zero, or like something like that. I must be
He
less
said
than a
I'll
zero.
always be less than 0.
Yeah, always be less than zero, which is like that's one of those small things that makes me like him a lot more, because I thought it was a basic line, like we don't have love, all right. But for him to, it's cool to be like really like braggadocious, but then like if you're gonna be like that toxic persona or whatever, how people interpret him and see him, like it means a lot to me for like getting into an artist that you're just gonna be fully honest and be like go like just talk about it the other way, and you don't even have to be sad about it, just like give me a good representation of what that's like dealing with you or whatever. Like, I'm less than zero is a great way to put it, and it makes it like that alone makes me want to listen to him more, because he's, I don't know, he's not afraid to be,
Self-aware,
he's
I suppose.
self-aware, he's not afraid to be honest about that kind of thing, and it's cool. So
Awesome.
there you go.
Any last words, Cam and Alex, before we get into the poem?
I think I've said my piece. Yeah, it's quite a ride. Enjoyed being a passenger to it. like to see what he's done more, since like I said, this is my first dive into 52 straight minutes of him, as opposed to, or
50.
I don't know, 50-ish, whatever. Screw you.
It's like 50 and 16.
I made the mistake of trying to use an exact number, so that's I dug my own grave there.
Sorry, I have to check now. It's 49.
I
It's
summoned
51 minutes and 49 seconds. You were closer than I was.
Damn.
Wow.
I am wrong.
All right. That's isolate that. Save that for later.
I can admit when I'm wrong.
Anyway,
Before we get in the poem,
I don't know if Alex had anything to say.
Yeah.
I feel like this is an album that I'm gonna have to like revisit later, just because. I mean, the production is all there, and there's no doubt about it. But it's not something that I like felt so strongly about in a particular way. Like I didn't love it, and I didn't hate it. And like I don't know if it's just because I'm I was in a state listening to this where it's like I didn't have like a good way to naturally listen to music, so like I had to like say actively like tell myself, all right, I gotta listen to this,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the best way for me to go about it. So it's definitely something I'll like have to come back to in like a few months' time. And we'll see how I feel about it then. But
yeah,
it was cool. I mean,
that I had the opportunity to listen to it on a dark 2-hour car ride was definitely beneficial to the way I experienced it, and just like that I executed the exact vibe that it demanded on accident. So yeah.
Alex, I will say, I don't know how you listen to this album or how you listen to music normally, but if you do get a chance, like just go for a walk around your neighborhood and like throw on an album and just like kind of give yourself the chance to be entranced by it and only think about that while you're walking and observing your scenery. That's how I do it, and that's how I'm able to zone in to it so much more. So if you get a chance to do it like that, go ahead. But
yeah,
that is true.
I like it more as
you
like
walk with one headphone in or two.
I walk with both. But I'm very aware of where I'm very paranoid, so I'm looking around.
I'm extremely paranoid, so I cannot possibly have two headphones in my ear. But
considering I live in a very dangerous area, I'm okay. I think you'll be okay too.
For now, I don't know. Sheesh.
I think my best experience with it was like treating it almost like entirely instrumental, almost, and just listening to it as like background noise. But like, I didn't pay so little attention to it that background noise could be an accurate term, honestly. But that's basically what it was I had my own sort of like conscious stream of conscious thoughts, like thinking about whatever was going on in my life, and having that be in the background and to be basically the soundtrack to my like what's the word? Introspectiveness. That's as close as I'm gonna get. Introspection. There we go. That's the noun word. Yeah. There you go. So the soundtrack to my introspection is basically what it became, and it was a cool experience. So yeah.
Nice. That'd be a good like subtitle for it, like a descriptive. Put that on the box. Soundtrack
like on the
to
Apple Music
Introspection.
description.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Introspection.
Soundtrack.
We'll see if Trevor likes it enough to make it the episode title.
An introspection.
Soundtrack to Introspection.
Something along those lines. I don't know.
I like it. All right. I actually do want to do, if we were gonna do ratings, I wanted to do that before the poem. I wanted that to be like the very last thing that we did. So
cool.
If y'all wanted to give it a rating, I wanted to go last. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I'll jump into it. Like I said, I was gonna give it a 4. It does still have room to grow. I'm happy to say I'll still be listening to it some more after this. So I could probably give it a 7 at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm to the point of liking it, and I think it's really solid.
And I think like after, not that we're like professors at this fucking album or anything, but I think after you listen to it again with all of our thoughts and opinions on it, I think it might grow even more. So
yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I think it'll grow on me even more, but I'm glad I'm liking it. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah. Okay, Alex, how'd you feel about it? What you gonna give it?
Well, it's like I said, I don't feel like I hate it or like I love it. I'm gonna go right down the middle. I'll give it a neutral 5.
Okay,
makes sense.
I feel you.
Respect it. Yeah.
Alice, not Alice. Cameron, my boy. I'm drunk. What'd you feel about it?
I'm also gonna go with a 7, and that's because it's a weird but like comfy 7 to me, because it's like I don't. A lot of the times I'll rank an album. Part of it is like, okay, how much do I like each individual track, and like kind of an aggregate of that, and like, oh, this track is like gonna be one of my top 10 all year. Like, I definitely like the whole album more because this track is on there, and that doesn't happen very much at all with this album. Like I was saying throughout the thing, it's either like in the middle of the road or a standout, and there are a few good standouts that I'll definitely listen to like by themselves, but as the album stands, I wouldn't really want to pick out certain tracks. I would want to make the time to listen to it front to back in a weird way. So I'd listen to it, while I'm gaming or whatever, as just like a background kind of a thing without having to think about it too hard. And just kind of enjoy the vibe and the sound. And like I said, treat his voice almost like a additional instrument.
I love that you keep saying that, but I also would like you to treat vocals as the instrument, because it is an instrument. It is like it is another instrument, so it's not like it is, kind of thing.
True, you're right. Yeah, that's definitely a fair thing to point out and say.
Not to nitpick, but
no, you're good. No, that's very fair. And like, that's not at all to like say that there aren't good lyrics and stuff like that. I mean, we've been talking about that the entire time. Good stuff that we've been pulling out and analyzing and thinking about, of the way he says things, and the less is more bit that you made, Trev, that he does do things lyrically that are important and worth paying attention to. So
it's 5 a.m. I'm nihilist.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's anything after this. Like,
yeah, he like very, very calmly and like in a poppy way, like talks about like, I'm extremely self-aware and depressed, and I can't imagine there's any life after death, so I'm gonna party my fucking face off. Like, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like at the end, you assume 5 a.m. would be the end of his night as opposed to the start of his day, right? Mm-hmm. So it's subtle things that are definitely worth paying attention to, but it can be enjoyed with the vast overall expanse of it having that all same sounding thing with a lot of seamless transitions, like you were saying, Trev. So, I don't know. It's because I don't have a ton of like individual amazing tracks that I love and like are definitely going in playlists and that I want to return to constantly. I can't like put it too high, but the overall like understanding of the album and how it feels and how it made me feel in a way, like the art, like just observing it as like a collection of art, I had one last thing. Whatever. It's fine. So yeah, it's like it overperforms in one way and underperforms in others, and it lands itself at a 7 for me.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think I basically echo all just about everything that you just said. But I think I'm gonna go even further, in the sense that I think it's even stronger because there's no standout track on here, that it works so cohesively as its own. It's a package. It is the quintessential album. It's not a single with 11 other tracks. It's not a couple singles with 17 other tracks. It's not overbloated. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's 16 tracks, and each one is like a 3.5 minutes, and they all serve their own purpose. I'm giving this album a 10. This is a perfect album to me.
I was wondering if you were going to go that far. That's crazy.
It is a perfect album to me.
Wow.
It's stellar. If y'all haven't by this point, an hour and a half in, if I have not sold this album to you to at least listen to it once, I don't know what else to tell you. It is one, and it's January of 2022. It is one of the best albums that's going to be released this year. I can guarantee you that.
It
will probably be my favorite album of the year. So,
dang, son.
Sorry.
You ever gotten a 10 that early? That's nuts in the year.
Yeah, no, this album is perfection. As we kept talking about it, I just realized how important it is to me, how easy it is to listen, and as you kept explaining to me how you didn't go to a single track, I kept listening to it as a package. It is so perfect to me. It's wonderful. This album is great.
Dope.
There you have it. What else
with
can we
that,
say?
yeah, no.
I think we should
what more
just
can I say?
we should just sign off with the poem. We don't even need to say anything else.
Okay,
No,
no, let's do it.
We've said
Let's
quite
do
a
it.
lot.
I'm down.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, with all those ratings in play, we are going to read the Phantom Regret by Jim, the 16th track, the ending of this album. It's a spoken word poem by Jim Carrey, and we're gonna read you all in equal bits. There's
Did he write
37
it?
lines, and we're gonna do 9 apiece.
Did Jim Carrey write it, by the way? Because that would be awesome.
I
Hold
don't
on.
know, but
I know he
would,
does I feel like he does different art forms, so I could see him doing that.
I could totally see him doing it. He's a genius. So
He's a very
Facts.
existential.
Grinch as Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, as the
It wasn't
Grinch.
Dr. Seuss as the Grinch, yeah.
Yeah.
but
Love
yeah,
it.
we're gonna read the spoken word poem for you guys. So David, you want to kick it off?
Yes, I'll try to do my best. Well, no, I won't. I can't do a Jim Carrey impression.
No one wants
Okay.
to hear a Jim Carrey impression because your voice is just that good, David. Come on.
They want to hear David.
They want to hear David.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. All right. You're tuned into Dawn FM, the middle of nowhere on your dial. So sit back and unpack. You may be here a while. Now that all future plans have been postponed, and it's time to look back on the things you thought you owned. Do you remember them well? Were you high or just stoned? And how many grudges did you take to your grave?
When you weren't liked or followed, how did you behave? Was it often a dissonant chord you were strumming? Were you ever in tune with the song life was humming? If pain's living on when your body's long gone, and your phantom regret hasn't let it go yet, you may not have died in the way that you must. All specters are haunted by their own lack of trust. When you're all out of time, there's nothing but space. No hunting, no gathering, no nations, no race.
And heaven is closer than those tears on your face. When the purple rain falls, we're all bathed in its grace. Heaven's for those who let go of regret. And you have to wait here when you're not all there yet. But you could be there by the end of this song, where the weekend's so good and he plays all week long. Bang a gong, get it on. And if your broken heart's heavy when you step on the scale, you'll be lighter than air when they pull back the veil.
Consider the flowers. They don't try to look right. They just open their petals and turn to the light. Are you listening real close? Heaven's not that. It's this. It's the depth of this moment. We don't reach for bliss. God knows life is chaos, but he made one thing true. You gotta unwind your mind, train your soul to align, and dance till you find that divine boogaloo. In other words, you gotta be heaven to see heaven. May peace be with all you beautiful people.